What is up, guys? Pat from Show Me Retro. So since convention season is upon us, and so far it seems that it's in full swing, minus a few restrictions, I thought it might be kind of fun to do a video on some tips for buying and selling at conventions. And this pretty much applies to all conventions, not just video games. Now, as I mentioned in a previous video, I am going to be a vendor at MoGameCon in September, and that will be my second time as a vendor. Now, that might not seem like quite a lot of experience, but I learned a great deal that first time as a vendor, and I can assure you I've been buying and selling video games as well as other items for over 25 years on eBay, Craigslist, flea markets, garage sales, as well as Facebook Marketplace. So I have quite a lot of experience when it comes to buying and selling. So with all that out of the way, let's get to the tips. Tip number one, come prepared. Bring a lot of cash. There are vendors that take credit cards, but then there are quite a few that do not. But you tend to get a better deal if you pay cash. You may be thinking, well, I'm just gonna go there, I'm not gonna buy a lot. But there's always something that catches your eye, and it just may be something that's quite expensive, so just make sure to bring a lot of cash just in case. Now, along those same lines of coming prepared, make sure to bring a backpack. Again, you may be thinking, well, I'm not gonna be buying a lot, but you're always going to find something. You may find a stack of Nintendo Powers, and those things are heavy, so what are you gonna do with them? Run out to your car that may be a half a mile away? So just always come prepared. The seller may not have room to hold your stuff half the day. I actually had a vendor hold something one time because I forgot a backpack. I came back 2 hours later, they could not find the item that I bought.
Oh my God, no!
And it became quite a sticky situation. Now, some things you might want to bring in that backpack are items for trade. Not everybody takes items for trade. I personally probably would not accept items for trade. I'm there to sell, not to trade, but a lot of people do. Now, if you are planning on trading some items, just make sure that the items that you are trading are of value. Nobody wants to get a whole bunch of copies of Wii Fit and Call of Duty. Bring something that's not just common games. Make it worth their while as well. Number four is something that's happened to me before, and that is don't hesitate to buy. So in previous conventions, I remember seeing an item right away that I knew was priced right. I should have just bought it right then. But my thought process was, I'll just wait a while. And the longer that I wait, the cheaper that I can get that item, because that seller is probably gonna think, well, I better take this sale. It's getting close to closing time. I can tell you that when you come back around and that item is just gone, it really stings. And I actually had an experience where the item that I had come back and finally decided now I'm gonna buy it, there was someone actually holding that game and paying for it as I walked up.
Oh, hell no!
Trust me, you don't want to go through that. Then you really start to beat yourself up and go, why didn't I do that? It's like all you can think about and obsess over is, why didn't I just buy that when I had a chance? Just to save what, $5? It's not worth it. Buy the item if it's priced right then and there. Number five, always ask questions. If you're buying say a rare Pokemon game, the seller should have no problem opening that up and showing you that it's an actual Nintendo board inside of there. If you're buying a handheld, make sure that they turn it on. They should have batteries, they should have things charged. And also, say you're buying a complete disc-based game, make sure that you check the disc for scratches and ask them if any of the art or the manuals are repros, because those things are getting very easy to do. Sometimes even the seller can get duped, and you might actually be able to tell by feeling the type of paper that they're using whether or not that's a repro or not. All those things come in play when you're negotiating on a price. And the last tip for buyers is don't lowball. Don't be that douchebag that already knows that this thing is $20 under price charting, and then you lowball him another $20. All you're gonna do is piss that guy off, and he's not gonna sell it to you. And he's probably not gonna give you a deal on anything on his table from that point on. Everybody wants a good deal, but the definition of a good deal in my book is a deal that's good for the buyer as well as the seller. Keep in mind that they had to pay for their table, they had to drive to get that item, and they need to make some money in order to maybe put food on the table. Sellers are people too, and they're there not just to give you an awesome deal, they're trying to make some money as well. Now let's go over some tips for sellers. Tip number 1, maximize your space. If you're like me, I normally buy one table, which is 8 foot by 4 foot. You can get as creative as you can. By stacking shelving vertically on your table, if you can afford that space, is a great way to get some height and then be able to put systems, things like that. If you were, say, up against a wall, you can have that whole space behind you then to put more shelving and just get a lot more things to be seen than you could fit on your actual table. Now, I like to use the front of the table as well. Just keep in mind, if you are going to put things in front of your table, make sure they're not hanging out so nobody either kicks them and damages them or trips and gets hurt. Now, as a seller, you also want to come prepared. Make sure to have tools like Tri-Wings. Make sure you have chargers to show someone that, say, a system works. Bring a USB battery bank for maybe things that need micro USB to charge. And make sure you have plenty of bags just in case somebody forgot a backpack. Tip number 3, do something unique. The tables that do well tend to be the ones that have a nice eclectic group of items, that have great prices, but also have some kind of unique thing that they're doing, whether it's a free bin or a dollar bin. Those are always things that get people's attention. People are walking around and go, hey, I just got this item for free over at Show Me Retro's table. So if you got space in the front of your table, put a box with a bunch of free items or just a dollar bin of things that really are worth $1, but things you're just trying to get rid of. Number 4, try to work with people as best you can. Everything that I bought for the convention, I know what I paid for it. I write it down in my phone, so I know what my margins are. If someone then makes me an offer, I can go back to that, even if it was 6 months ago, and I know that, hey, this is what I paid for that. You're offering this. The deal's got to be good for both of us. I got to make something. I know you want a good deal. Just remember what your margins are and try to give the buyer the best deal that you can and still make money for yourself. Number 5, get help if you need it. And I can say that with experience that the previous convention that I did, I went there by myself and set up by myself, but I had another YouTuber, RetroMikey78, and his wife and his mom right next to me. So they made it very nice if I needed to use the restroom or just wanted to walk around and see what everybody has. Most conventions, the purchase of one table will get you 2 people. Now, if you have 4 tables, I think they only give you 1 per table. But to have 2 people for 1 table is a great idea, and don't hesitate to ask for help. There's no shame in that. Next, know your prices. So what I like to do is, I always like to be under price charting, as well as other people selling similar items at the convention. So once I set up, I usually like to walk around and to see if, say I'm selling a Smoke N64 system with a controller. I want to try and find the guy that's selling that same thing, and I want to be under him, because you can bet that if somebody's really looking for that, they're going to walk the whole floor. If they're similar condition, they're going to go to the person that's $5 cheaper. That's just the way it is. So I kind of like to know where I'm at with my items compared to everybody else. If I can go lower, if there's some wiggle room, I will do that, and then pass the savings on to the buyer. And last, the most important thing, just have fun. I can tell you that when I was doing this for the first time, my stomach was in such knots. I had so much anxiety that I was popping Imodium like Tic Tacs.
Jesus. Right this way, sir.
And it took a while for me to kind of calm down and get over this rush of people coming, and it was just a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress. And it was hard to remind yourself to just settle down and have fun. So this next time, yes, it will be a lot bigger, but I'm gonna try and remind myself that I know at the end of the day, my items are good. I know my prices are gonna be fair, and I'm gonna come home with money in my pocket. So just don't stress. That's not gonna help the situation. Just try to have fun, meet new people, make new friends. The day is gonna work itself out, and that's gonna be fine. All right, guys, so hopefully you enjoyed these tips and it makes your buying and selling experience a lot better for the next convention that you are going to. And if there's any tips that I forgot, make sure to leave them in the comments. I just kind of threw these together off the top of my head. I'd love to hear them. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps out. All right, guys, I will see you all next time. Thank you so much for watching.